met Sheikh Omar, we did events together as a Christian and as a Muslim. And he said, Shaun, for this first year, I know it would be your tendency, because you're a preacher at heart, I know it would be your tendency to preach the Quran, and for this first year, I'm just asking that you learn it. And maybe for the first 2 years or 3 years. And for this first year, I've just thrown my life and my heart and soul into learning it. And I wanted to say to you, it's been now about 15 months since Meta banned me from Instagram. And they have said to me, even though they have now restored the accounts of Donald Trump, they restored the accounts of Minister Louis Farrakhan. They have continued to say to me that it's a permanent lifetime ban. My account is the largest account they've ever banned, and the only known large account like this where they've ever issued a lifetime ban. I want to say to you that after a few months of losing it, not only did it not bother me, but I started to see the wisdom of Allah in me losing it. In effect, when I first lost the account, do you know if you've ever left your house without your phone and you start feeling around on your pockets and you realize you've left something? For the first few months without Instagram, I had almost 6 million followers, and I had put about 10 years of effort into building that community. I had raised over $75 million for charity just from that account. I had helped elect almost 100 different people to public office from that account. It was my primary organizing hub. And for a few months, like when you lose your phone, I would open it up and realize I don't have it. And they didn't just ban my single account. They banned every account connected to me. For any business I had, any podcast I had, 10 different accounts, they banned them all. After 3 or 4 months, I started to see the wisdom of Allah in removing me from the platform. If I was is it an injustice? Of course it is. But it not only removed the platform, it removed an enormous amount of noise and distraction from my life, good and bad. There are relationships and conversations that I miss. My family has a group chat on Instagram where they share, my wife and all of my kids, where they share memes and stories, and they still have the group chat, it's just I'm not in it. And so I feel left out. My brother who died of pancreatic cancer, he was a pastor, one of the sweetest men I ever knew. I would love to know what my brother thought about me becoming a Muslim. But my brother and I had hundreds of messages that we shared with one another. And when they deleted me, they deleted all of those chats with sisters and brothers in Gaza, many of which have been killed since they banned me. And I saw the wisdom in it because it removed all noise, all hate, all negativity. And eventually I stopped caring in my heart and mind about being on the platform. I stopped caring about who followed me, who shared a post, who commented on a post. How many likes did something get? And it cleared out so much noise that after 3 months, I started truly believing that Allah had allowed that to happen. Of course, it would not have happened without the permission of Allah. And that silence allowed me to focus and grow and study as a Muslim. And so I am excited for the years ahead. I don't know that I'll ever be an imam the way that I was a pastor. I don't know that I'll be a scholar, but I hope, inshallah, one day that my learning and growth will be enough that I could stand up here and do the recitation without you giggling, because right now, even the prayers are difficult for a new Muslim. I got home the Monday after the first day of Ramadan, and my wife and I had just taken our Shahada. And when we took our Shahada, people gave us, we came home with 10 prayer mats. And I did not know how good Muslim men like to smell. So I came home with like a lifetime supply of cologne. I did not know this was a thing. I have embraced it now. I have enough prayer beads to last me and my family a lifetime. And it came time for Fajr. And we had our prayer mats. I did not know how to pray Fajr. I don't speak Arabic. And my wife and I said, well, what are we gonna do? And like most of you, when you're confused, we went to YouTube. And when you Google anything or search for anything on YouTube, it could be good or bad, it could be right or terribly wrong. We saw a very simple brother from Australia reciting each of the prayers, and each of the videos had millions and millions of views. And the videos were like 15 years old. And literally, this man on YouTube taught us how to pray each of our prayers. And I was with Sheikh Omar a few months later, and I told him, I said, man, my wife and I are a little concerned. I said, I'm afraid to say my prayers out loud. He said, why? Why would you be afraid? I said, no, not at home, but sometimes when I'm in public, sometimes brothers may ask me to lead in the prayer. He said, well, why wouldn't you? I said, Sheikh Omar, I'm afraid that I'm saying my prayers in an Australian accent. He said, what? Why? Why would you be praying your prayers in an Australian accent? I said, well, we learned them from an Australian on YouTube. And he said, please just do the first part of Fajr for me. And I was so nervous. I was like, what if I say this and it's in Arabic, but it has like an Australian accent to it? So I went into the prayer and I could see a sigh of relief. And he said, no, it doesn't sound Australian at all. And we just busted out laughing. This is what it means to be a new Muslim, to learn the words of Fajr, to have the disciplines of growing up and understanding your faith. But nothing has comforted me, and I'll close with this, nothing has comforted me more than knowing how much our Prophet, peace be upon him, cared deeply about helping the people around him. In fact, the more I learn about the seerah of our Prophet, peace be upon him, that together we serve. Most of his life's work was about making the lives of those immediately around him better. When you learn about who the first Muslims were, for me, as an African American, we care deeply about the history of slavery in America and slavery around the world. It was curious to me, why did enslaved people all the time, over and over and over again, why did they so quickly embrace Islam? They saw freedom in it. But they were also surrounded by Muslim men and women who cared about them so deeply, they wanted to see them escape the chains and limitations and shackles of slavery. It gave me great joy when I learned a hadith about how much our Prophet, peace be upon him, cared about injustice. When I learned the hadith where he said, when you see injustice, stop it with your hands. I love this. And it says, and if you fail to stop it with your hands, then use your tongue. Use your words. And if you fail even then, at least despise that injustice in your heart, which he said is the weakest of all the three. But I am afraid, sisters and brothers, that too often in America and around the world, that we are living that hadith, but we're living it backwards. That instead of seeing injustice and confronting it with our hands, our thought is to see injustice and sometimes despise it in our heart and do nothing more. But I want to reiterate that hadith that said that is the weakest form of response. We live it backwards. When we see injustice locally, we might maybe despise it in our hearts, and on a good day, we might say something about it with our words. That's not the prescription of our prophet, peace be upon him. He did not say heart, words, hands. He said hands, then words, then heart. ICNA Relief lives that out. ICNA Relief is about seeing injustice in society. That the poverty you see, poverty is almost always an extension of injustice. It's not poverty is rarely accidental. Poverty is almost always an offshoot of unjust systems. When you see injustice, confront it with your hands. ICNA Relief does this.
Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.